A broken bridge, a lasting symbol of the brutal battlefield. One of the three places serving as a lifeline to the DPRK, Hekou Broken Bridge in Dandong, a border city in China's northeast Liaoning province, used to see hundreds of thousands of soldiers marching over it to the Korean war front. Dou Chaoli's father, Dou Xiangchen, was one of the soldiers. He was colonel of the 150th Division of the 50th Volunteer Chinese Army. Dou was among the first batch of Chinese soldiers to cross over the bridge to the battlefield in Pyongyang and Seoul.
My father didn't tell me much about the marching, perhaps because the task was so urgent and he didn't even have time to think. They were commanded to cross the border and defend the west coast of the DPRK.
Named by his father, Chao, which in Chinese means the victory of the Korean War, describes how brutal and devastating the war was.
It was during the third campaign of the war that the 50th Volunteer Army suffered the most losses. The entire army persisted on the battlefields along the Han River near Seoul for 50 days, during which more than 10,000 soldiers died.
Here at the Shenyang Cemetery of Revolutionary Martyrs, the names of the martyrs during that war were listed on the wall behind me. According to official statistics, more than 600,000 Chinese and Korean soldiers were killed or injured during that war.
In 2014, the remains of 437 Chinese soldiers killed in the Korean War finally returned to their motherland. Since then, transfers of heroes' remains continue. Built in 1951, this cemetery is now full of green pines and verdant cypresses. The final resting place is a solemn reminder of the past, for people to always cherish peace.
Time
has witnessed the deep bonds between China and the DPRK, as well as people's remembrance of those who gave their lives in this war. Half a century later, nobody wants to see another war break out on the peninsula. It would bring no good to anybody.
Liu says under the current circumstances, peace and stability on the peninsula can only be achieved through a two-pronged approach, which Chinese Foreign Minister Wang describes as a combination of sanctions and dialogue. Cui Hui'ao, CGTN, Liaoning Province.